Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of The Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. So I ran up on this video on TikTok, and it's this lady who I thought this was interesting. She has a couple of different things on her page that I saw, but I wanted to sort of highlight this because of the mentality that got displayed here. And I'm not going to waste too much time. I'm just going to let you see it, because apparently on one of her previous videos, a man commented, "Take what you can get if you're 46." Okay. And so women over the internet nowadays would call this a man trying to humble them. So this was her response to that.
Take what I can get at 46. I'm 46. I look like this. I just woke up. I don't have a stitch of makeup on my face. Nothing. And I look like this. This is my hair. This is my body that I get up and work hard for every day. At 46. At 46. 2 kids and a grandmother. At 46. Why would I take what I can get and I look like this at 46? And not to say that looks are everything, but I look like this at 46. I take care of myself. I'm not stressed out by nobody's dusty son. That's why I look like this at 46. Yeah. I'm not taking nothing that I could get just because. Ain't never been a problem getting a man. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me.
Now, there are other videos that I'm going to show you. But just to speak to this, you're 46. You all right. She said that like she looked 25. You all right. You all right. For 46, you need to be looking something like that. I mean, that's not extraordinary. She said that like she look extraordinary for her age. She don't. You look like a regular 46-year-old. I would have pegged you at 40-something. I would have pegged you. You cute. She's not an ugly woman at all. But there were some very basic things. You look like this without makeup. Good. I'm glad for you. That's your real hair. Again, wonderful. You got hair on your head. That's not a sew-in. That's wonderful to see. Your body is average. She spent around like she had the most devastating body that anybody's ever seen a 40-something-year-old have. I've seen 40-year-olds built better than her. By a long shot. So, but then 2 kids though. Were these children in marriages that you had before, or were these children outside of wedlock that you had? I'm assuming that these children are either teens or grown. No problem getting a man, but you don't have one. You don't have one. And you trying to get one too. You trying to get one as well. That's the thing. You're actually trying to actively get a man. I'm going to prove that in just a moment. But there was a response video even to this. There was another. I guess she's responding to the comments. But there was one after this that I'm going to highlight. And it's this right here. So we're going to let this go.
Respectfully.
So the question, the comment that she's responding to here says, respectfully asking, what are your other options besides marriage, alone, for the streets, serial dating? These are the options. They're asking her, so what are your options then? Since you got so many, list them.
asking, what are your other options besides marriage alone, for the streets, or serial dating? Traveling,
Alone.
running businesses,
Alone.
being a mentor,
Alone.
being a volunteer,
Alone.
frolicking,
Alone.
dilly dallying,
Alone.
praying,
Alone.
meditating,
Alone.
exercising,
Alone.
working out, taking care of your body,
Alone.
dating men who actually like you
Serial
and
dating.
treat you amazingly,
Serial dating.
spending time with your friends, spending time
Alone.
with your children,
Alone.
spending time with your
Alone.
parents.
Now, before I let her finish her statement, all of that did not address the question at all. See, all of those are things that you can do inside or outside of a relationship. The things that she just listed have nothing to do with whether or not you're in a relationship, because if you're in a marriage, you can check out, you can keep up with your family and maintain the relationships with your family. You can maintain relationships with your friends. You can maintain your health. You can maintain self-care regimens. You can do all of that inside of a marriage. See, these women try to frame it as if you have to choose either self-care or marriage, and that's not the choice. Those are not the options. That's a false dichotomy. You're supposed to be taking care of yourself whether you're in a relationship or marriage or not. That's the key. And when you're in a marriage, that's even more incentive for you to be able to take care of yourself and have a desire to do so, because you want to stick around uh, and be the best version of yourself that you possibly can be during for the duration of your marriage, for as long as you can do that. You want to be able to have your health for as long as you can have it. You want to be able to have, take care of yourself, look good, feel good, behave well. You should want to be able to do all of those things inside of a relationship, but you should also want to do it outside of a relationship, right? Because in many cases that can be the preparation for a relationship. So when this person asked her, what are your options, everything she said she was going, basically she alone was the choice. She made a choice without saying it. It didn't hit like she thought it was hitting. She thought she ate that up, and she really didn't. But we're gonna let her finish.
Doing new things every day, trying new restaurants. You can do all of these things besides being married, alone, for the streets, or being a serial dater. You can have companionship. You don't have to be married to have companionship or be in the presence of someone else romantically, whatever it is you choose.
So again, these are still choices. She said, you don't have to be married. Okay, so that means either serial dating or for the streets, right? Because even in all of this, she's still saying you want a man somehow, some way, somehow, you want to be in the presence of a man, right? You do. Because again, all of the things that she named, women are coming out to basically say that all of those other relationships that they wanted to foster, that they said would collectively take the place of the fulfillment of a marriage and being in a healthy relationship with a man, that those collective things, being with your friends, being with your family, traveling, what I'm saying, self-care, blah, 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 all of these other things that they do, and all of these other work relationships and social relationships that they foster and that they, support and uphold, that those relationships were supposed to be the equivalent, or it was supposed to be to excel or to exceed the fulfillment that they would get from being with a man in a marriage. And what they're coming out to say now is that that's not true. And I've done videos about this with other ladies. Just recently I did a video about the ladies that was out and saw all the other ladies that were also out, and then complaining about where the men were. Well, if all of these other relationships that you have were better than or more fulfilling than a relationship with a man that you could be healthy and happy in, then why are you complaining about where the men are? The same thing with the women that's going to these single, meetups and these mixers and things of that nature. wondering where the men are, but I thought your good girlfriends could replace it. I thought your traveling could replace it. I thought your good job could replace it. I thought your nice home could replace it. I thought the nice car you drive could replace it. I thought that the skincare regimen that you had could replace it. I thought that the hair care and the exercise regimen that you had, and the hobbies that you pick up and the family that you hang around, those things were supposed to replace the sense of fulfillment that women had once they decided to quote unquote decenter men and not focus on healthy marital relationships with men. Even romantic relationships with other women, if you want to go down that spectrum, is not fulfilling either, because you have a lot of studs that's coming out and saying this is not fulfilling. You have a lot of the films in those situations coming out saying this isn't fulfilling. I don't like this. We're gonna let her finish.
I'm in the presence of men all the time, having a good time, being treated nicely. You don't have to settle for just these things. And if you think that that's all that a woman or a man, for that matter, can do, you're missing out on life. There's a lot of life that has to do with not being attached to some person at the hip. And it can be amazingly enjoyable. Respectfully asking, what are your other?
Now she really thought she ate, but right.
But calling a woman 4 times in a span of 3 hours is crazy work when she just gave you her phone number yesterday. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? I fear the men are going to have their panties in a bunch once again, because these men are crazy out here. I exchanged numbers with this man yesterday. We had one FaceTime conversation. Okay. That was yesterday. He wanted to meet me out for drinks. Okay, cool. I told him where I was going to be at. He told me he was going to get dressed, meet me there. He never came. So I said, cool. No sweat off my back. We just exchanged numbers. Then proceeds to call my phone at 6:51 in the morning today. Twice. Why would you be calling somebody at 6:51? Called me twice, 6:51. Next call came in 9:14. I was in class. I just came from working out. So 6:51, I was asleep. 9:18, whatever, I was in class. He then proceeded to call me back at 9:38. Why? Then the text message, sorry, let me make it up to you. Call me crazy.
And this is why the men in the comments were trying to ask you what were the options that you had, because for all of that you ran down in the last video, you still wanted to go on a date with a man. Like, you still was trying to find a man, and for all of that spinning around that you did in the first video and talking about how good you look for 46, you still ran into a gumbo. You still ran into a goofball. You ran a bit. So the dating doesn't seem to be all of that fulfilling and wonderful. You said in the last video that you spend time with men and get treated nicely and you get treated well and but then came back behind it to tell a story about a goofball that you ran into. And it was goofball material, right? You get somebody a number, they stand you up on a date, and then proceed to call you early in the morning 3, 4, 5 times back to back. Like it's goofball. It's goofball behavior. But these are your options. That's why you were asked that question. What are you gonna do? But I thought you looked too good for all of this. Let you tell it. You were too fine to be worried with somebody's quote dusty son. But somebody quote dusty son stood you up at a supposedly a little get together, a meetup, or whatever you want to have call it. It may not have just been a date, but a little meetup. Thought you was too fine. Thought you get treated so well. Thought you didn't have a problem finding a man. You don't see women be capping. They so cap when they get on here. You always can find a man somewhere. But what is the quality of this man? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. What is the caliber of the man? There's men all over the place. Okay? But what's the caliber of him? That's the issue. Any man to be happy to grin and skin in your face, you know, especially if you ain't got no standards, especially if you don't require even basic, decent human, respectful contact. Sure. Okay. But a man that's intentional, as they say, running into a lion, one that's gonna take you seriously, one that really is moving in a way that you can appreciate, and all of these sorts of things, and then he actually like you as well. That's what you can't find. That's what's difficult. It's difficult. It's difficult to find those men. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, the Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.